So anxiety is, there is a difference again between people feeling anxious and worried and anxiety as an illness. Okay. When you feel anxious and worried and you don't address it, the needle moves on the continuum to it becoming a disorder. Why do we feel anxious? There is some logic behind it, is that we have a small pea-sized area in our brain called the amygdala. Historically, we were hunters. The job or the role of the amygdala was actually to protect us and keep us alert to possible predators. So when the amygdala is in a high working state, it moves us into three possible movements. Some people move into fight. The symptoms that you see when they're anxious is they are fighting, they're aggressive, they're edgy, they're snappy.
Yeah,
that's one kind of people. Which are the people who are the fighting kind? They fight it. And it's basically, they're not aggressive to actually put you down or to victimize you. It's a form of protecting the perceived attack. There's another kind of people who, when the amygdala is activated and they're anxious and they're hypervigilant, they are the type who live what we call flight people. These, they either deny or push things under the carpet. They avoid the predator or the conflict or the issue. And if you see on social media, this kind of people are the ones and who actually, what psychologists and psychiatrists call, who engage in toxic positivity. Mm-hmm. The reason I term it as toxic positivity is you go to them, somebody goes to them with something that is worrying or causing concern, they will say, think positive. They'll give you these positive slogans without addressing what is really causing this anxiety. So that's one kind of people. And the third kind of people are what we call the freeze people. They actually, what happened is they just become numb. They become immobile. They are not able to strategize or problem solve. So you will see these people in a time of crisis also, they cannot move. They cannot be effective because it's almost like the body has become catatonic. They're immobile. They're frozen. So this is the first thing to understand these three groups of people. Now, anxiety as symptoms, the first step when you have symptoms is to look at, I always say, look at the physical symptoms. Okay, belly. Our belly always talks to us. Okay, it is that you feel either the churning, or some people have the running stomach. Some people have acidity. There's a general sense of discomfort in the stomach. The next thing that happens to people who are anxious, you can see some people into nail biting, or some kind of, you can make out there's agitation because there's some default kind of bodily movements. You may have people actually changing their breaths, changing rapid or shallow breath. They're not able to inhale and exhale properly. And along with that, there are people who say they feel that their heart is actually moving or the heart rate is increasing. These are all very, very common symptoms of anxiety. Along with that, people will say there are some, you'll see them sweating, sweaty palms, or they have these kind of movements. Now, these are anxious people. So you normally have physical symptoms, then you have what I said, these other behavioral symptoms. And people with anxiety, they are clouded by what I call gray lenses. What is a gray lens? Even on a bright sunny day like this, like now when I'm looking at you, I can see, while it's gloom in the context, I can see your cheerful plants, I can see you well dressed, I can see your green mat. They can't see all that. They just see everything with a film of gray. Okay. And you may say, Anna, but I put the lights on in my house, everything's so bright. Yes, you've done it, but I can't see it because my lens is like a film. And then you have some of them who are constantly asking, they go on questioning you, they go on asking because they are going on trying to make meaning. So there's always questions, there's a kind of staccato talk, or the incomplete sentences, or there's kind of a hurry. These are all anxious people. So these are four ways you can see this. Little children, now this is what I wanted to tell you. Little children, when they feel anxious, whether it's when they can speak, first thing a child tells you is, my stomach is paining.
Okay.
That's actually, or especially now if they've had something difficult, they'll say, my stomach is paining. They're actually saying, I'm feeling uneasy. And that's the way they express. And we need to make meaning with that. Now, what are some of the steps we can do, which I always say is why are we feeling anxious? Because it's uncertain times, lack of predictability, fundamental human need. So look for pockets of control.
Okay.
What can you control? I can control how I respond and not react. So we always say, before you respond, take a few breaths, because breath really works. Breath work really works.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you respond. Second area, where can I take control? How you connect. Now, what does that mean? We connect with human beings. We connect with, at this point, with social media, with YouTube, with movies. Respond how you connect, because in relationships, this is a good time to connect with people who are of actually what I call, gives you quality and not quantity. The first signal is, when I finish a conversation with somebody, do I come out saying, oh, I'm feeling good? Or do I come out saying, oh, this was tiring? All of us go through that. Oh, just couldn't deal with this. So that's the second pause. How do you connect? And the third is, choose your activities, whether they are replenishing you or they are depleting you. Now, again, I can give you an example. Somebody like me, I start work by 6:30 in the morning because I have client calls. So I'm awake by 5:30, and between 5:45 and 6:30, I walk. It's my quiet time. It gives me physical activity, and it gives me a whole lot of energy to be able to cope from then till 10 in the night. So I need it. I just need it. Or it's actually why I look at your videos to just see your kids, because there's so much joy. It gives that 5 minutes of joy, but it gives energy. Okay. I will not watch news in the night after 8 o'clock because I don't want to see any more trauma.
Yeah.
By the visuals and the struggles that we see. So you need to start selecting what kind of information you're taking in, which time of the day you're taking in, because night you should not be taking this information, simply because you may think you're sleeping, which you may be physically, but your unconscious is processing all this stuff, and you'll wake up again anxious.
Yeah.
Sleep is very important in anxiety. And this is where the chicken and egg story comes, because when you're anxious, you're not able to sleep, but you need sleep to come out of anxiety. Yeah. So you need to be able to actually, if you can't sleep, say 6 hours continuously, at least get those deep pockets of sleep whenever you can, so that you feel rested. Now, this is something so important and basic. There is a difference when we talk about positivity. If you're telling somebody who's anxious and depressed, think like a cheerleader, it actually makes them feel terrible.
Yeah.
Because then it makes them feel, how are they able to do it and I'm stuck in this hole? So I think when people are reaching out, listen, just listen to what they're saying, to the facts, to the feelings, and do not advise.
Okay.
Just listen to them. When you listen to them, they feel held. Then when they finish venting, then making suggestions is different from this toxicity that we are into, you know?
Yeah.
This is how you need to deal with anxious people and anxious children. Next part, communication. Death is such a real thing for all of us, death and illness, yet we don't address it. Okay? I think it's okay to address it. And I'll give you my own examples. Last year when this happened, created a file and with a label. I'm not saying that's me and my need for perfection, but created a label and actually stuck it on the cupboard and told my two grown-up daughters, if anything happens, this is the way forward. And we talked about death. Okay, now this is my house where we talk about, but what I'm saying about uncomfortable things, what I'm saying is we all need to be able to talk about our fears. It's okay to talk to your loved ones that I'm afraid. It's okay to actually talk to much older people, especially senior citizens who this has already started looming in the back burner before this happened. They may want to actually express what is the way forward for them.
I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine talking to the people I'm most scared of something happening to about something happening to them.
Yeah.
I feel like talking about it is making it real somehow. And I just the thought of it gives me so much anxiety, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so I know, and yet this is what it is. And the last, which I say to minimize anxiety, is reality checks, which is keep the information that is accurate and required to problem solve. Do not absorb all this that's coming.
Yeah.
Too much is coming.
Yeah.
Too much is coming. Don't absorb it. It's not worth it. These are some aspects of information. Now, some immediate things you can do when you're anxious. If you're gasping for breath and you're having the panic attack, take a packet. It can be a brown paper packet and put it over your nose, keep blowing into it so that it calms you. The other thing is we have a simple exercise, which is close your eyes and we say touch something.
Mm-hmm.
Use all your senses, basically. Smell something. Listen to some sound in the distance. With your tongue, get a taste of something. With your so you're using all your sounding, and then with your nose, try and smell something. That itself is what we call an exercise to actually ground you in anxiety. The other thing that I tell people is if you're very anxious and go and have every few hours, have a hot shower. Hot water soothes the body.
Okay.
Just, you don't have to soap yourself or anything, just go have the hot shower come out. The other thing that we also can do, which is good for anxiety, is actually have this squeeze ball and keep doing that, because that helps you. Because fundamentally, of course, everybody knows that when you do this, your breath changes, and breath work helps change the body movements, the inner body dynamics. These are the way that you manage anxiety.